Hey guys, welcome back to Journey to Jeeping. I'm Pat, and today we're going to be installing a CB radio kit on the Jeep Wrangler. Now before we get into it, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button to help support the channel. Now that we've got that out of the way, let's go check out this kit. Alright guys, so this is the CB radio kit that I have pieced together through separate purchases on Amazon. So right here we have the CB radio mount, we have the CB radio, the spare tire bracket with the adapter. We have some extra CB antenna cable, and this is the CB antenna kit. I just unboxed it, but I haven't actually unwrapped it yet, so we'll go through that together. And we also have CB radio antenna. So at this point, we're going to go through the process of installing it. I've never done this before, so this is gonna be my first time doing it. And you guys can just follow along and we'll do the process together. Okay, so the first step I'm planning on doing is I'm going to remove this plastic trim here. So the CB mount that I had purchased is going to mount just underneath this hook here. So it's going to come out and our mount's going to be right here above the rear view mirror. Okay, so this trim piece doesn't seem to have any screws holding it in. So all I've done is just pried down on it, and I've got it just enough that I can now remove these two screws up top here and install the bracket. So we're gonna do that right now. All right, so here we're going to be opening the box for the CB mount. And this kit was purchased from Rugged Ridge, just in case you the box. All right, so it appears we have some instructions on how to install, so that'll be helpful. We have some bushings, some hardware, and the mount. So it seems pretty straightforward. So everything seems to be here, so we will continue with the install. All right, guys, so I just pulled out the instructions. I figured I better read these quick. And one of the things I want to point out is it says, and I'm not sure if you can read this, but it states that for the 2007 to the 2010 JK models, you'll have to pre-drill your holes and use these bushings here. But for the 2011 plus, we can use our factory torque screws. And that's what we're going to do here. This is a 2016, so we're just going to use the factory torque screws. But just a heads up, if you do have the 07 to 2010, you will need to drill your holes. All right, guys, so we're back up front, and I'm going to remove this piece here, this little bracket piece. I'm going to remove that. That's a Coax T20, as you have right here. I'm going to use a wobble extension with the ratchet set on this one. So we're going to remove this. We're going to take the bracket. We're going to install it, place everything back, and then we'll move on to the next step. Okay, so now at this point, I'm going to take the mounting bracket for the CB radio. I'm just going to place it on top. I'm not going to secure it or anything yet. All I want to do is fasten the CB radio up, and then I'm going to start working my way back towards the battery. Now my intention here is I want to take this power cable, I want to run it through this trim, I want to come across the top, down this pillar, and I actually have a firewall just on the side of the dash here that's going to go right underneath the hood and then connect to the battery. That's the idea, that's what I'm hoping to get. So I just have to see how much cable I have and see if I have to add some more to make it happen. All right, guys, so what I've done here is I've gone to we're at the passenger side door now. So there's a little trim piece just inside. You can see where the glove box is and the speaker here. So I've used a flathead screwdriver. If you have a trim plastics remover, great. That'll work much better. Save you from scuffing up your plastics. Unfortunately, I did a little bit. So all you're doing is you're just prying these out. There's no screws. They just clip in with these little units here. You pull out, and what you're going to see behind is there is a circle here. You can see that. That's just foam insulation. All you want to do is just poke right through that. That's going to give you your access to your firewall in just underneath the hood so you can run your power wire. Hey guys, so I've ran the cable all the way across this pillar here. So that's the power cable I've run down. So I've come across. Now you will find that you will use the, it was a T20, I believe it was. Again, over here on the right side, just in the passenger, to remove your visor here. So again, just 2 T20 screws. You just remove it, pull it down. That's going to allow you a little bit of play with this side pillar. So you're going to run your cable across, and then you're going to come down. Now I've tucked it in here, and then it's run into this side panel. I put this back. The cable is run right through into the engine compartment through that firewall that I've showed you before. So we're just going to go on up to the engine. I'm going to show you where that cable came out. All right, so what you're going to see here, this cable has come right through this firewall, and it's come directly in, and you have a lot of space here, which is kind of nice. It tucks perfectly underneath this little lip here, and you can run your power cords right into the engine bay. So I've left myself a lot of extra wire. That way I can use some cable ties, and I can sort of mount this exactly where I need it to be. But anyways, that's just to show you how easy it is to get it through that firewall and then just right to your battery. It gives you a lot of space and a lot of access. Hey guys, just one more thing I'm going to mention is I had removed the wiring harness here for the door, and I've taken off the strap here just to allow the door to freely move back and forth. Just gives you a little more space to work with. The only thing I will say, just keep in mind, is that once you remove this door is going to swing freely, obviously, but it's going to hit the side. So if you take a look, you're going to end up doing a lot of damage to this panel here. So just be careful when you're doing that to gently place it where you need to be, and just be mindful of that, or else you're going to end up with a nice ding. All right guys, so for the next part here, I'm going to install this antenna cable. So we're going to use that same pillar that we use for the power cable up in the front. I'm going to run it across right to the passenger side. I'm going to go across the roll cage, and I'm going to bring it right to the back here. So we'll do that step by step, and I'll show you how it's done. All right guys, so what I'm doing here is I've run the cable across the pillar. Now I'm going to take off my handle straps here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to unzip this fabric casing, the padding around the roll cage, and I'm going to run the cable through that. I'm going to zip it back up and hold it in place that way. All right, so at this point, I've run the cable along just a little lip there, and I've gone underneath this plastic. Now this whole little casing here is just basically held on by these little plastic clips. So I used a flathead screwdriver, just gave it a little bit of pressure to pop the clips out a bit, ran the cable in, and came out with the rest of this harness here. And then I've just clipped this all back in. Now with this harness here, we're gonna come across, we're gonna follow it along with this, and we're gonna go in behind here. So we're gonna have to remove this plastic panel here. There's just these little plastic clips, so just be very gentle and just pry them out ever so gently. Every time I end up pulling a piece off for a project or something like that, I always like to take the time just to give it a quick wipe down and clean it up. You never know when you're going to be back in there and it's just dirt sitting in that area for so long. So I like to clean it up. All right, so this bracket here, this is gonna be your antenna bracket. I'm gonna mount it right in here. Now the one thing to point out is I did order the adapter for the antenna. So you wanna make sure that you get the proper one, that you have it grounded on the bottom, but the top portion here, if you can see, you've got a little washer in there. That you need to make sure is not grounded, or else your antenna won't work properly. All right, so at this point, we are going to take our cable. Now that we have this all attached, this is nice and stiff. We're going to plug into here, and we're going to take our antenna. We're going to unpackage this, and we're going to install it. All right, so now that we have this mounted, we've got our cable, our antenna. So now we're gonna head up to the front. We're going to secure all the other pieces. We are then gonna attach to the battery, get some power to it, and we're gonna test out the unit and make sure everything works good. All right, guys, so we put everything back together, buttoned up all the panels and connected to the battery. So we have the CB installed, and I'll show you in a second what it looks like. We tried out a couple different stations. Some of it came in clear, some of them were a little staticky. And I did find that as I was driving, I could almost hear, it was almost like it was alternator noise interfering with the signal. So that may just be because I need to get it tuned or find a better grounding spot. But anyways, I'll show it to you right now, and I'll let you know if I come up with any fixes for the alternator sound. All right, guys, thanks for checking out this video. The CB radio install is complete. and it went pretty good. It took a couple hours anyhow. It took a little longer than expected. All right, guys, so for those who are planning on doing an install yourself, I'd love to know how it went, and if you found any other methods that were a little bit easier than the ones I've shown in this video. Feel free to share. It's definitely just going to help everybody else out on their install. So anyways, thanks for checking us out, and we'll catch you on the next one.